r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. Tattoo artists of Reddit. What ideas have you said no to? Some 18-year-old kid wanted goat loaf across his knuckles. I told him that sounded like a bad idea. He told me it was his nickname. And he was convinced he would never regret it. I refused. And on his way out of the shop, I saw goat loaf embroidered into the back of his fitted cap. I almost changed my mind. It was so damn funny. Along the same lines. We would, past tense. I don't work there anymore. Tattoo 16 and 17 with parental consent. And some cracked out mother brought her 16-year-old son in to get duck life across his knuckles. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with her. My buddy got offered a blowjob and also her yellow scarf. I don't know what the duck, before she finally accepted defeat. Some people found what a yellow scarf is. A tattoo artist I know, who is a close friend of mine, refused to give a guy thigh-length tattoos of squirrels going after the dude's nuts. Oh shit. I never saw it. But his wife confirmed. Some guy I used to work with has a squirrel on the inner left thigh going up. And another on inner right thigh going down. With nuts in his mouth for the right side one. Haha. Not an artist, but the guy across the way in my complex told me. Once a kid came in asking for the all-seeing eye in the middle of his forehead. He took a permanent marker and drew it on his forehead and said, reapply this for 2 weeks, then come back and I'll do it for real. The kid came back sometime later for an arm tat and said he had changed his mind about the eye. Shit. I think tattoo artists should do that for all tattoos. Drunk girl asked for gates into her vagina. A horse door. Plus if her hips are old enough, the gates can creak and make sounds when it opens. When I first turned 18 I was going to get a portrait of Lubiga tattooed on my ass cheek. The first 2 places I went told me no and I gave up. I'm really glad they said no. Right after my 18th birthday I got a tattoo of Joe Dirt on my right ass cheek. The artist who did it thought it was a funny idea and scheduled me for like 2 days after the original consultation despite her 3-month wait list. No regrets. Edit. Here is a pic. If anybody is curious. NSFW. Obviously. Second edit. Holy shit. My first gold. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys all like my ass so much. Racist things. Terrible things going on a face or hand. Plagiarism of other tattoos in general. Usually I start with trying to educate the client on why it's a bad idea and options to improve it. I used to do that. And then when they insisted on the thing that wasn't technically feasible, i.e. super tiny lettering in brown ink so it would look like henna in an area that was prone to poor healing, palm of a hand, I would do it. They'd end up unsatisfied with the final product. So now I just tell them I won't do it. I've always wondered, how small can you do writing on a tattoo and it look good? I work in a tattoo store in Europe. And this dude, who was clearly flat out drunk, walked and demanded multiple genitalia, both male and female, tattooed over various parts of his body. I declined. I want dongs and kittens all over me. My face. My hands. My ass. My ducking face again. Sir. We are a respectable shop and we will not tattoo pornography on you. Dot. Wait. This is a tattoo shop? Double quote. I got a pixel style gaming tattoo on my back. Afterwards the artist said he would never do pixels again because it was such a shitload of work. Pixelated? Got a picture? My regular guy won't do tribals. My dilemma was that I grew up in Indonesia and I wanted a traditional batik tattoo based off of my home island of Java, or Jawa. I moved to the States in 2009 and I found out how much it looked like a tribal tattoo, and that was honestly the reason I decided not to get it. Freshly turned 18-year-old girl comes in. I want to get some cheetah spots on my neck to go with my asymmetrical haircut. My so explained that a tattoo was permanent and a haircut was probably not. He suggested dermal implants instead. She declined. The sad thing is, she probably went down the street to a shittier shop and got it done. Poor little dummy. I've seen a few cheetah print tattoos and they just look like a skin disease. I was tattooing from a little studio I built in my house. A guy brought his wife to keep him company while he got his tat. Not uncommon. When we finished, he asked if I could tattoo a vampire bite on his neck and wanted to know how much extra it would cost. Well, 2 holes. A little red ink for blood drops. No problem bro. No charge. It only took a minute and he was really happy with it. As soon as I got the tattoos cleaned and wrapped, his wife gets in the end wants a matching vampire bite. Not a problem. Except now I'm gonna have to charge you guys $20 because I have to change needles, tubes, and ink cups. Oh. No. You don't understand. We want you to use the same needles. I say that it's only 20 extra. No biggie. But they insist it's not about the money. The guy was so happy with his tats. I got the vibe that he was going to throw me a decent tip anyway. So finally I say give me a minute to change over. And I'll do it for free. They still won't have it. They insist that I use same gear. I explain about Hep and AIDS. But they keep telling me that they are married and disease free. And even if one did have something, the other would want it as well. Sorry folks. Married or not, I don't do that. When they left, they were the angriest, most disappointed customers I've ever had. It was like the guy didn't even get the original sweet tattoo. In hindsight, I think they only came to me because they knew I worked from my house. The first tattoo was only a ruse to get the vampire bites. Good for you for keeping good practice. Even if the customer insisted. The customer isn't always right when it comes to tattoos. The best I ever saw was a guy coming asking for the monster logo right above his Johnson. He asked if we had any open-minded or gay artists. Like just because someone is gay they totally wanna see your trashy 45-year-old dong. Then proceed to tattoo it. Monsters. Inc. A man asked me to do a swastika with duck juice on the bottom. I gave him a blank stare and told him to get out of my store. Edit. Thanks for making this my top rated. But can we please stop with the I duck juice and duck juice jokes? It trips me out that these dudes don't have some social network wherein at least one dude is a tattoo artist. Before this thread I just always assumed that they knew who the racist tattoo artist in town was and everybody went to him. I can't believe they would even trust their skin to someone who they weren't sure wouldn't duck them up just because. I was at the full moon party in Koh Phangan, Thailand. I went down to the beach to watch the sun rise, because basically no one passes out before it rises. There was this guy just sobbing, with his head in his hands. I asked if he was okay, and looked up. He had a Superman logo tattooed on his forehead. For his sake, I wish someone had told him no. Can I get Elmer Fudd pointing a shotgun at my butthole with the quote I'll get you? You Askali Wabbit. Listen guys. U/a World Sketchapid is taking a break to go to dinner with U/a World Sketchapid. Cut him some slack. I'm sure he'll be right back after he gives her a card over dinner that makes her cry. Got some ink at a shop in Texas that had a sign saying no butterflies. There was one instance of butterfly tattoos I'll never forget hearing about. My friend was a tattoo artist in Brooklyn. He had a guy come in. Orthodox Jewish man. They don't get tattoos, not kosher. He was a soldier. He got 17 butterfly tattoos, one for every friend he lost in combat. Not a tattoo artist. And this apparently was done. But it's so bad that it has to be shared. Asked an artist who was inking a friend what the worst request he'd ever seen was. 2 guys wanted a matching tattoo. 2 ducks in midair. Screwing. Veins evident on a giant coke. The whole package surrounded by the words I don't give a flying duck. My tattoo artist will usually try to talk people out of names unless it's for someone who's died or their child. Her rationale is always, you could always break up or get divorced. I know she's done plenty of surname tattoos anyway, but always asks why you're getting it and if you're sure. When she tells me about those tattoos, she's very frustrated and blunt, but she's got a real gentle way about her when she's actually talking to the client. I was discussing tattoos with some women once at work when one of them gave the best advice on that. Girl, don't put any name on your body that ain't your kids or your pets. Those 2 are at least yours forever. I've been at the other end of it. Some girl I picked up at a club one night said that she'd have sex with me if I got a tattoo saying Jennifer's Beach on my butt cheek. Being drunk I accepted. But fortunately the tattoo artist talked me out of it. Not an artist. But while I was in Okinawa on a training exercise, I had some liberty time and decided to go get a new tattoo. While I was getting it, another drunk dude came in with all his drunk friends and told the girl working the front counter he wanted to get a smiley face tattooed on his dong. Without missing a beat, she looks up and with a straight face says, "Okay, but it won't be very big." Whole shop and his friends bust out laughing. And to make it worse, he ended up having his whole foot tattooed in the design of a Converse shoe. A 15-year-old white boy came in wanting a teardrop on his hand between his thumb and index finger. He got pretty upset when I told him that I would not tattoo a Mexican gang symbol on him. He threatened to go to another shop. At which point I told him that any artist who would do this is a piece of shit and doesn't deserve the machines they own. There were others, but this was the most recent. It's usually a young girl or boy wanting tattoos on a hand or neck when they have none elsewhere. I remember asking one where they worked and they replied Walmart. I asked them if they wanted to work at Walmart for the rest of their lives. Because getting sick hand tats is a great way to accomplish this. If I was a tattoo artist, I would have done that without thinking. But that's because I had no idea it was a gang symbol. Ever wondered if you've tattooed something politically dodgy but weren't quite sure? It's rarely ever a case of saying no as much as it is helping people to understand that their idea is not good. It's about education. Really. I spend a lot of time with my clients and spend a great deal of time talking people out of getting tattooed if their ideas are suspect. People appreciate the time I take to talk with them, and when and if they do come back for some work, they tend to be very receptive to input. Word to the wise. If you find an artist that you trust and you like their work, give them as much freedom to come up with a design as you are comfortable with. The more the better. That is how you end up with the best possible tattoo from that particular artist. Micromanaging makes for a crappy tattoo. Tattooing for 8 years and I'm currently on this season of Ink Master. Good luck on Ink Master. My regular guy said he would never copy someone else's tattoo unless it was like two friends' family coming into him at the same time and both agreeing to have the same tattoo. But he'd never rip off another artist's work. Take inspiration from. Yes. Copy. No. My regular guy also doesn't do his own tattoos on other people than the original client. His book is to see his work and style, not to pick your tattoo. I have a very close friend who does tattoos. Worst one he's said no to is his aunt's meth addicted, overweight, white trash best friend asking for the number 33 behind her ear. Because a man once went down on her for 33 minutes. Meth addicted. Overweight. I'm not even mad. That's amazing. I have been asked to do more than 40 swastikas this year. As always, I asked the client to leave and find a new artist. In my imagination at first it was just the one guy who wanted all 40 swastikas. I was a pisser at a tattoo shop and often did tattoo quotes. People would come in with Asian writing or tribal ideas. Without trying to sound rude, I would say things like, "Oh, do you have some connection to Japanese culture? Oh, are you Polynesian? I have a friend whose mom is from there." I wanted them to think again about getting some other culture's symbol on them. And if they thought it was their own idea, to reconsider. They were more likely to get something relevant instead. It was shocking how many people didn't realize that tattoo artists will actually custom draw you pretty much whatever you want. You don't have to print out someone else's tattoo from the internet. Not a tattoo artist. But I have several and I usually ask this question to the artist. Best answer in his words. This hooker came in and wanted me to tattoo a dong on her neck, fuming, and her daughter's name spelled out with the cum. I told her to get the duck out. Edit. Phone auto corrected words and stuff. But thanks for the upvotes anyways. Not a tattoo artist. But I have several and I usually ask this question to the artist. Best answer in his words. This hook came in and wanted me to tattoo a dong on her neck, fuming, and her daughter's spelled out with the cum. I told her to get the duck out. LT Dirty Bear. IamGood.com link. I picked my artist based on what he wouldn't do. I was in Orlando for a weekend and decided I wanted a tattoo but couldn't figure out what to get while browsing through the shop. I overheard a potential customer talking to an artist about how he wanted the 101st Airborne symbol done. Not only was he not in the military, had no family in the military, nor had a best buddy in the military, he wanted to change up the logo a bit. The artist politely declined, saying the tattoo would do nothing but get his ass kicked in a bar sometime later when someone that deserved to have the tattoo would start a conversation. The kid offered I think around $500 and he still turned it down. After he left, I went up and said I admired his ethics and we went on to discuss my tattoo. I'm in Central Florida and considering getting my first tattoo. Would you mind sending me the name of the artist? Ducking like and subscribe.